So today I am going to show you how to make this spectacular hunk of Taiwanese scallion pie. Once again with just some dough and some scallions. So I hope you'll enjoy. So this dough is somewhat similar to a scallion pancake, but there's no hot water involved. So I have about 2.5 cups of flour, some water, some sugar, some yeast, some salt. Recipe is all going to be down below. And then what I'm going to do is to just add my liquids. So that's a little bit of water as well as some oil. And as usual, I usually like to add a little bit less water than I would need, just because environmentally dependent, sometimes you need more flour, sometimes you need more water. So you just want to kind of slowly add it in and then get this dough together. Something I will say about this dough is it is on the softer side. It's not a stiff dough, because the more liquid that you have in a dough, the easier it is to kind of puff up and rise, right? So this is one where we do want it to kind of puff up and rise a little bit. So don't worry if it's not super stiff like our usual doughs are. Just kind of knead it 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes or so until everything is nice and combined and the ball of dough is fairly smooth. So while our dough rests, while our dough rises, I'm going to cut a lot of scallions. I actually didn't have enough, so I had to mix some Chinese chives in, but I'd say 2 big bunches. You want 2 really big cups because we are going to jam this pie full of scallion. So in assembly, this is going to be very similar to the scallion pancake as well. I'm not going to use any additional flour because that's just going to dry things up. I'm going to use a very light layer of oil so that nothing sticks. And then just roll this out into a general rectangle. I'd say about a 1/4 inch thick, and then we'll layer in the rest. So to create those bready layers, we will be using about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil and just kind of spread it pretty liberally so that as it rolls up, you can also see those layers. And then I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, black pepper, as well as Chinese 5 spice. And I'm just taking a little bit of it, pinching it all over. There's no exact amount. If you like more, then put in more. And now we're gonna put in the scallions. So this method of layering, I actually saw from street food vendors in the middle of Taiwan, in Taichung. But I've also seen people actually roll out like 5 or 6 discs from the dough and then just layer the pie that way so that you get, a layer of dough and then the scallions and then another layer of dough. I think that this method is probably a lot quicker, especially for street food vendors. So you can see on this log shape, we're doing the same thing as we did before and then folding it over again to create a lot more layers. Something quite important I'm doing here is sealing those edges because you can actually see the layers and the twirls on the side. That is not what you want because as this guy cooks, it opens up and it pops open and you want it to maintain that pie shape, that circular shape. So just bring all of the dough under, make sure to kind of seal the edges and then let it rest for about 20 minutes because at that point it's quite stiff. But after the 20 minutes, you can kind of squish it down to a pie shape. And what I'm doing is I'm brushing it with just some water and then loading it up with sesame seeds because that's going to provide a nice crunch. It's going to provide a really nice fragrance as this guy fries up and then gets crunchy. So, in terms of cooking this pie, I'm going to recommend for the home cook to steam this for about 15 minutes first. Get it all nice and puffy before pan frying it on both sides. It's going to be 100 times easier that way. But this quick street food method is pan frying and steaming at the same time. So you want the heat to be pretty low because you don't want to burn it. This is going to be in there for about 15 minutes and then you're going to let the water evaporate and then give it a good flip. And for me, it was very difficult because I couldn't get my spatula in there. And this doesn't release until all of the water has been evaporated. So if you are using this method, make sure to use a really good non-stick pan. But like I said, an easier method is to just steam it separately and then pan fry it on both sides until it gets nice and pretty and brown like this. It's really pretty, but kind of in that rustic sort of way. It's not exactly all layers, but a really quick method of doing that. And it's super crunchy up top, so it's kind of crackery on the outside, but it's nice and bready in the middle. So like a scallion bread pie. And I'm just cutting it up into small pieces. You can have it with soup, you can have it with some congee. It's really, really nice that way. It's very, very pretty. So there you guys go. Another recipe that's kind of just dough and scallion turned into this masterpiece. I have a couple more of these recipes actually coming up, so it's going to be a very scallion summer, but I do hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. People, 50,000 is coming up quick, and I am so happy about it. As usual though, do hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all again next time. Bye!